All right. Good evening. I certainly hope and pray that all is well. I hope that everyone had a wonderful day. I am very much now looking forward to the time change. All right. Usually, I do because I usually always do uh, for that extra hour, but at the same time, you know, sometimes I don't like it, but hey, right now I'm looking forward to it. All right, so I want to talk about something tonight that I have noticed and come across first because it just popped up in my head. Before I get into the topic I want to talk about tonight. So I went to the grocery store tonight, and I saw a park. I looked over and there's a mailbox on the sidewalk around the corner from the entrance to the grocery store. So there was a postman there, which, in his truck, which they were supposed to be there because they was getting mail out of the mailbox. And then someone comes up behind the postman, and in the vehicle, it was towed up. But vehicle nonetheless. She had her shit like she had them kind of ropes. I don't know what they are, okay, but tied had so the front wouldn't completely fall off the fender, whatever, tied, okay, whatever. So, but she parked there, and she came up behind him, turned the car off, and went inside this grocery store. And I said to myself, well, I know she's not parking there because it's clearly not a parking space. Cars got to drive through there. I said, well, maybe she's just going in for a second to get some shit. I don't know, pick up somebody or some shit like that. Because it's obviously not a parking space. Mm. Excuse me, I have not had much water today. I done messed my shirt up. I had spaghetti. I got tomato sauce splatters all over my shirt. Whatever. So anyway, don't act like it don't happen to you. So anyway, I go in the grocery store, get my stuff, not my noodles and my sauce for my spaghetti tonight. It's a particular sauce that I like at that grocery store. So they didn't have it, so I was looking for it. So I was there for a hot minute in the tomato sauce aisle, the spaghetti sauce aisle rather, looking looking for this sauce. Okay, of course I'm getting hot. Hold on. Now, side note, I put up some videos on my community post about things that I talked about or mentioned in some of my videos that other content creators have talked about. And I was sarcastic, like I said this, but now that a man said that, you can believe it, because you know how that shit go. Woman say, especially women that look like you, they ain't gonna listen to shit you saying like you dumb. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Okay, here go a man. He said it. Not only is he a man, he's a white man. Well, the one video, I don't know if that guy's white. I don't know what he is, but he looks like he could be. So now you can believe it. Okay. And what I mean by that is because that's how people are. They're not gonna believe your black face, especially your own people. A man is without honor, a woman, whatever, is without honor in their own home. It doesn't have to even just mean just your physical home, like I'm in Cleveland, Ohio. No, just your own people who look like you, same gender as you. They're not gonna they'll talk about you. You don't know what you're talking about. That bitch crazy, this, that, and other. Hear the others say, especially if it regards to women. Hear a man say it. Okay. And hear a man who appears to be the quote unquote, I'm not saying they are, superior race say it, then they'll believe it. Okay. But nevertheless, I did a video about perimenopause, menopause. I ran into this lady's channel. She got a whole channel is dedicated to it. And I'm like, okay, a white woman. Not I said these things, but now that a white woman is on here saying it, now you can pay attention and listen, okay? Because you know how people do. That bitch crazy. She don't know what she talking about. Okay. That comes from the jealous spirit of how you know that and I don't know that. Well, there's a lot of things people know that people don't know. We ain't all, you know, one person ain't meant to know everything. That's how we learn. But anyway, that's how that go. So I'm talking about that because I'm getting hot. Okay, 53. I am perimenopause. I don't even know how many months it's been anymore. You know, they say 12 months. No period that you are officially in menopause. Some say 24 months consecutively. But, you know, for the women out there who've been through it and men who have spouses, girlfriends, wives, whatever the case may be, of women who go through it, you know how that shit go. You know what I'm saying? You won't have it for about 3 months. Then here it come. Then you go stretch about 6 months and here it come. Then you go stretch about 9 months and here it come. That has happened to me so many times. I got to the point where I was keeping up for years. I don't even know how it could be. I could have hit my 12-month mark. I don't even fucking know. I'm usually tired of counting. Okay, it's just like, okay, it's gonna happen eventually. All right. I want to say something else about that, but I'll hold off to get back to my story. So I go in the store. I'm in the store and I'm looking into spaghetti sauce and all of that type of shit. Okay, and I'm in there for a minute because it's a particular sauce that I like. I couldn't find it. So then I see this other sauce, you know, because I like trying different kinds of sauce. And it said, what did it say? Italian gravy or something like that. It was like Italian gravy. So I looked. It was a spaghetti sauce, but it was supposedly spaghetti sauce made in Little Italy in the Bronx. You know, from the Bronx, New York. So I said, oh, I'm gonna get this shit. So I was reading the ingredients or whatever, you know, and I'm like, I'm gonna get this and try this, right? So I'm in there a hot minute. I turn the corner and there the sister is, who had parked her car, illegally parked her car, not only illegally, but it's very unsafe. Very unsafe. And it prohibits the flow of traffic. I said, look at this shit. Now, you motherfuckers can call me a Karen. I don't give a fuck. It's ridiculous. So I said, okay. So I'm in a grocery store line. And you know, I don't like a whole lot of silly shit. Okay. Now I like to have fun. Okay, I like to laugh, have fun, but I just don't like a whole lot of silly stuff. So there's this new cashier at this particular grocery store I go to, and she likes to dance and whatnot. You know, and it's like attention seeking. You know, and so the lady in front of me, she's talking to the lady in front of me and dancing and whatnot, and the lady really is looking like she really didn't want to be bothered with that shit, right? But she was trying to be, you know, nice or whatever. Okay. She's trying to be nice with the lady and whatnot, but she's really looking like, please, you know, I really am not interested. But, you know, she looked over at me and I just looked at her, you know. I'm not gonna entertain the whole shit. So I don't know what song was playing, so she's telling, oh, that's a song by such and such, and you know, she's dancing and gyrating and whatnot, you know. So she looked at me, you know, I had this serious shit when I don't like silly shit. Okay. I'm not going to entertain you, and I'm not going to, you know, I've long got past the days of, well, I don't want the lady to feel uncomfortable. You know, I don't care how you feel. I'm not interested in you gyrating all over my food and shaking your ass and all that shit at the fucking grocery store. I'm not here for that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying it. I'm leading up to it. So afterwards, you know, I go. People, you know, they have a hard, difficult time with that. But you will be okay, because I'm not interested. Just bring my shit up. You really don't need to be gyrating and all that shit over people's food. You know what I'm saying? Shaking your ass all over people's food and whatnot, because you're trying to look like you in or accept me, and, whatever the fuck it is. You like a middle-aged woman. Settle your ass down, ring up my motherfucking groceries. So, I can feel comfortable. 4-4. So I go to the customer service. I said, I know the cashier. I know she's going to think I'm complaining about her, but I wasn't. I was telling the lady, I said, there's a lady out there parked. I said, I hate to be, no, I didn't say I hate to be. I said, I have a complaint, and you can call me a Karen or whatever the hell. I don't give a fuck. I didn't say that part. Fuck. I said, I really don't care. And I said, there's a lady out there parked. I told her where she was parked, and she said, can't be parked there. There's no park. I said, well, I know. I said, but, I'm thinking maybe she just run in here to get somebody something. No, she is full out on grocery shopping in the fucking store. Just straight up grocery shop. I didn't point the lady out or nothing like that. I ain't go looking for her, nothing like that. I said, I'm just letting you know because I know you have security here. You might want to circulate. I said, because it's dangerous, And it's like, and then not only is it dangerous, it's dangerous because that's where people drive through, two ways. You know what I'm saying? But not only that, the fuck are you parking there for? And it's not a parking space. I've seen people do that, like at in them malls and outside malls, like park in those zones that are like not parking. I'm like, you mean to tell me you're that fucking lazy? I mean, I understand how it is sometimes. Sometimes you may be tired. You're ready to get home. But you got to go in this store real quick and get what you need. Or you got to go in the grocery store real quick. Whatever the case, and get what you need. But you're tired. You don't really feel like walking. You can't be that fucking lazy. I said, you that fucking lazy? Really? Or are you that fucking entitled that's okay for you? Now, when I laughed, I said the car was tore up. Now, back in the day, and I'm sure people still do when they see people out there driving crazy, and then you see a big ass dent in the car, something like that, people would be like, that's why their car fucked up now, And I don't give a fuck, you call it what you want, but I don't understand that. Why are you so entitled that you feel like you can park where it's not parking and then go just hold up the whole fucking world for you? Now, my thing was not for security to go, give the woman hell and grief and drama. Just you need to be watchful because it's dangerous. And that's one of them grocery stores like where a lot of old people go. You know what I'm saying? But I don't care if a lot of old people go there or not. You shouldn't be doing that. For anybody out there who's watching, if you do that, why do you do that? Why don't you just park in the parking in the parking lot, and the lots designated and designed for cars? Why are you parking in areas that are not designated for parking? That clearly is clear. No parking, no parking, no. But now if someone says something to her, or a security guard says something to her, or the police officer says something to her, or the store manager says something to her, then the first thing they're going to cry is racism. Oh, you being racist. No, that's not racist. Why are you parking there? Somebody correcting you, but yet you don't want to take accountability for what you've done. Why has our world become that? But I'll say that for a whole nother video, okay? Because I feel like I'm about to go off into all of that right now, and that's not my intention for tonight. Really what I want to talk about tonight, but this still may fall under the whole idea and spirit of entitlement. So I'm on a psychic app that I've talked about. I think I slipped up one time and said what it was. I did, okay? I try to keep it to myself, you know what I'm saying? When people follow me all over fucking earth, okay, like this Philippe, he been doing this black magic on me all day, all evening, and then all day today. Till I don't know, maybe like mid-morning. I let this look at this nigga doing the same shit. The same shit. Same silly ass text, the same shit. But anyway, I mean, he texted me not text me. He sent a request. I knew was the second order that this person had sent, which was him. The first time he did, I knew it was him by what he was saying. The second time she seen it, I think it was either last Friday night or last Thursday night. I mean, a message after message after the whole thing, you know, where they sent the request and what their concern was, the inquiry for reading. None of it made any sense. I said, this motherfucker's drunk as fuck. I may screenshot it, let y'all see it, put it in my community post. I said, he's drunk than a motherfucker, okay? And I was like, doesn't make any sense. So he was messaging me. I was like, he's drunk as shit. I said, if it's not him, it's one of his little buddies. I think it was it last Thursday? I think it was last Thursday because I saw one of his little friends at the gym who participated in all the gang stalking and trying to destroy me. Looking all sheepish and shit. Usually the nigga looks so fucking arrogant. You know, I turn around and there he looking at me. He sized up me. I sized up him. Okay. But anyway, I have gotten like these. I have want to talk about this type of thing for a long time, but it's just gotten out of hand. I really don't like the questions that people ask concerning when they're, you know, relationship questions in terms of what does he think of me. It's very. I probably mentioned this a little bit before. Usually men don't ask that. I think I've gotten maybe. I've been on that app since, what was it, 2020, I think. Wow. Or maybe it was, no, not 2020. No, I think 2021. 2021. Still, wow, going on 4 years. Going on 4 years in, I believe, like November. And it's very rare men come through asking about what a person that they're interested in or their relationship. Very rare that they ask, what does she think of me? Very rare. Okay. That is a question women ask all the time. What does he think of me? What, you know, are his thoughts of me? What are his feelings? You understand what I'm saying? His intentions, you know, all the time. Now, I noticed at one point I was getting those questions a lot. It would drive me fucking crazy. Although I have asked those questions myself in the past. You understand what I'm saying? I ain't gonna act like I haven't. I have. And what else was I gonna say about that? Okay, but anyway. So usually I found that women ask relationship questions. Usually when men, it's more, at least, I can't say for every advisor on that from my experience. I've gotten way more requests for readings from women anyway. Very few from men. There is one man who calls like every blue moon. He calls. Okay, he doesn't place an order. He calls, and he just vents about this woman that he's dealing with. All right, and I just let him vent. You know, I just let him vent. And same woman, year after year, and he vents. Maybe like once or twice a year he calls. Okay, but usually men, when they ask about a relationship with a woman, you know, they're married, you know, it's not a what does she think about me type of a thing, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, I think maybe on all this time that I've been on it, maybe that I've gotten that question twice from men, okay? Maybe some crazy shit the woman did, you know, or will we get back together? They may ask that, okay? Or is relationship going to work out, this, that, and other, you know. Now, mind you, we're only required to do a 3-minute reading, okay? At first, it was a solid 3 minutes. Then they extended it to 5. We don't have to do a full 5 minutes. We only are required to do 3 minutes. I'll try to go ahead and do 5, okay? Because people are very, you know, I don't know how to say this word. Well, I mean, I can't think of the word that I'm looking for. But people act like you owe them. You know, now granted, they are paying, okay? They are paying. I'm not saying, they are paying for a reading, but they may not. But people don't read. Number one, they don't read, and they don't. They may not realize that the person. I don't. I see. I don't even know if on the other end, if the people who come for the reading, I don't even know if they know that the app has extended it, 5 minutes on our side. Extended it, and they're like, in case you feel like you need more time, if you want to give them, a little bit more, but it's not required. But 3 minutes are required. But hell, see, I don't know if they know, and you can give them a reading, a dynamic motherfucking reading, and because 3 minute reading, and because it's not extended to 5, they won't give you a bad review. Things like that, which, bad reviews come with the territory. It is what it is. Okay, sometimes people give you bad reviews. I had one woman just yell and scream at me because I didn't tell her what she wanted to hear. I'm not going to sugarcoat your read. And I tell people that it's in my description box, okay, as well, you know. It's in my description box, as well as I let people know I'm doing. I'm not gonna sugarcoat your reading. I don't know what other people doing on this app. I don't say that, but I'm not gonna sugarcoat your reading. I'm telling exactly what I'm hearing because I feel like though I'm required to do that. You know what I'm saying? Now, sometimes I can hear some harsh shit. Okay, because I usually don't. I will use my cards to assist me with the on the app because it's just too much to be trying to deal some cards out and all that. For me, you know what I'm saying? Because I like to. I don't do like some psychics may do. Readers on there may do listen to the inquiry, read it, do the spread, and then hit play. I read it, whatnot, and hit play it right away. Okay, so I'll use the cards to assist me. And now that we have extra time, I'll go ahead and pull some cards along with what I'm doing psychically or whatever. Okay. But one thing that I'm finding, okay, I have had women come through asking about the relationship, about the man, okay, whatever's going on, the situation. Maybe they haven't talked for a while, or he seems like he's backed off, or maybe they had an argument, they haven't talked for a while, I can't understand, what's happening with him. Like, I feel like if you're in a relationship, now I'm not sitting here saying I'm a relationship quote unquote expert, whatever that's supposed to be, okay? Or I'm not in a relationship sector. I'm just telling my observations. I just feel like some of the things that people ask, I feel like, and this is not about just them, this is about just period. Why sometimes I want to say, like, why are you asking me, or why are you asking a reader on an app about how your person is feeling, or why they did A, B, C, and D? Why aren't you communicating with that person? But then again, I feel like, well, I can't do now. So it might be some readers on there who do that. And some of the readers, I mean, some of the readers have been on there for like 15 years. They've been on there for a long time, and you can tell when you look at their video, you got the description, then you can look at the video, you can tell like they've gotten fed up with certain things, and it's just like, listen, here are the rules, here's how it goes, and there's some they're like, I am not going to answer questions for you about like a married someone who's married that you're in a relationship with. You can tell they put up some strong boundaries. Okay, but so some of them might say, you should ask. Why would you ask certain things? Like, why are you asking a reader something that you should be asking that person? Like, communicate with that person. Now I understand sometimes in relationships, we might get sheepish and whatnot, and kind of scared and whatnot, scared of what the person is going to say, or really afraid to really face how they feel, so on and so forth. But you're in a relationship, you're in a relationship. Because it's like, so what are you going to do every time something comes up that is causing you some kind of trepidation or fear or anxiety, whatever in your relationship, constantly go to a reader, you know. And honestly, it's a good thing. I'm like, this is a good thing it's an app, because me personally, I don't want to know your person more than you do. You understand what I'm saying? I don't want to be reading into what this person may be feeling or thinking and so on and so forth in regards to your relationship, because I can pick up on it and I can pick up on your energy, so on and so forth, because now I'm knowing your person better than you do. This is your relationship. You should be talking to your person about your relationship. Now, I was going to look on the app before I came up here tonight to give you some examples of what I'm saying. But I don't want to do that, because even though it's an app and you don't know who these people are, I would like to think that you don't know. Because I do think that there's some readers on this app and Tarot here who have come to me for readings. Okay. And if that, and damn sure if that's the case, I surely, whether they was part of the crazy ass Brown Drew Bellamy gang stalking or whatever the case may be, I don't want to divulge their inquiry, on an app. Though the only person who would know is that person. Hold on. Hot and cold, cold and hot. Um, um, it's still not. It's not fair to them. You're not supposed to be divulging people. You know what I'm saying? Except that silly ass shit Philippe said to me, drunk than a motherfucker. It wasn't even a question. Okay, it was just some. It was drunken mess. It's like I feel like he's drunk. Okay, pissy drunk. But anyway. So I'm just like, I'm not in a relationship. Okay. I have been in relationships, but I'm not in one currently. Okay. For people who are wondering, all of that kind of stuff, right? But anyway, talk to your person. If you want, the closeness, the togetherness, certain things, you now I can understand if you just go out on a date or whatever, or you just get to know somebody. That's when I get a lot of the, what does he think about me? Where's the relationship gonna go? You know what I'm saying? And I understand that you be all excited and you're feeling good about the person and whatnot. Yeah, I understand that. But these in-depth questions, you need to talk to the person that you're in a relationship with. That's who you need to go to. Not. I'm just gonna say for me. I just not a tarot reader, because even after, now sometimes I can understand if you're gonna go, just you're using it for some clarity. I can understand that. Okay, just need a little clarity, just to kind of, give me peace of mind that everything is okay. A little bit. I can understand that a little bit. Just a little bit. Okay. But I just feel like if you're in a relationship with someone that you say that you love and they say they love you, things do happen or whatever, where you might back away from each other for a minute, or one person to back away, whatever the case may be. But I still feel like certain things you need to talk to your person. Don't go to no. And one thing that really is crazy, how long or when are they going to call me back? Now, I have in my description, I don't do time frames. Now, I know people don't read. Okay, they don't. They just, because inevitably they want to know when they gonna call me back, or when we gonna get back together. And I don't think that's. Now, there are some people out there who they hit it on the nose. I'm not one of those people. I tell people I'm always willing to ask but don't hold it to me, okay? Because it may not be shit. I may be wrong. Shit, I don't do time frames. I don't specialize in that area. I don't do that. You know what I'm saying? And then you know how people say energy changes. So people get mad as hell. Like, I think that's what the lady got to yelling and screaming at me about the time frame because she had called, so we was on the phone. Click. This conversation is over, honey. You know, because they want to act like people who go to you. They want to act like you're God. You know, and hell, that like I was saying for the video before about this quote unquote rapture, when it's like, well, the book says no man knows the day nor the hour, so that's kind of was a whole kind of a silly thing. That's just some planted shit. Just let's see what the people gonna do. That's what that was. Let's see how they gonna act. You understand what I'm saying? Games, powers is playing with folks. You know what I'm saying? But if any of it was real at all. But anyway, anything, energy changes. You have the power to change anything. You have the power to change the trajectory of your life. Then I did a video one time about predestination. Okay, like things being predestined. Is it this whole thing about is it actually going to you actually a solid that this is what it is, it can't be changed, this, that, and other. Well, or when people say, may feel like, well, I should be further along than where I am, and then someone else will say we're exactly where we're supposed to be. Things might have been different, but you don't know if things might have been different if A, B, C, and D. So but anyway, I had 3 inquiries. This one, I just got to the point where I was like, this is just too much, Women, 3 women asking about these men. Now, whatever, they had a fight, they hadn't been talking, or the man had to pack away a little bit, you know what I'm saying? They wasn't seeing each other as much, blah, blah, blah. So I'm shelling it out. This is what I get. I tell them the answer that I get. I'll do some cards for you. And the cards is confirming what I've just said. Okay. Something like, let's just say along the lines of, well, he's going through some things right now, that he's kept to himself, and he needs some time to himself to deal with those particular issues. Oh yeah, you're so right. You're so right. You're hitting it on the head. But can you? No, you're so right. You're hitting it on the head. His mama died. His cat died. He lost his fucking job. He found out his sister got cancer. But when is he gonna get back with me? To me? What? Now all I got 3 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes. All I picked up on is he's going through some things right now that he really has to work out. Within himself, he needs time to himself to figure these things out, A, B, C, and D. But he hasn't gone anywhere. He hasn't left you. The relationship is not over in his mind. He's just going through some things right now. Now, I don't know what specific things there are. You just told me like 5 things. I literally just had something like that, where the lady talking about 5 things the man was going through. That was some pretty devastating shit. But all she wanted to know was, when is we gonna get back together? When he gonna come back to me? I mean, how selfish. I had two that lately, because I don't go in there that much. I haven't been on there that much. And I want to say, you're telling me everything you said on here is devastating. One of them, one is devastating enough. One is devastating enough. But all this shit has happened to this man in 6 months' time or a year's time, and all you're concerned about is yourself. You haven't said anything about, do you know of any way what the spirit say, the angelic realm, whatever say, and how I can be of assistance to him, how I can be comforting to him, how I can help him, how I can, assistance in assuring him that things are going to be okay, or he gonna make it a whatever, something along those lines. All you want to know is when he gonna get back to you to take you out and be with you. And be with you the way you want him to be with you. Now, I'm not saying men don't do this to women. I'm giving you examples of what I just looked at. About the third time, I said, well, goddamn. How fucking selfish. Do you care that this human being here that you claim that you love done lost 5 people that's really dear to him, like within a year? And then lost his job? You can't see why the man may need some time alone? You can't see that? Now, you done came to the reader. And usually when they come to one, you probably about the 5th or 6th one they came to, or the first of about 5 or 6 they're going to go to. I've had people come to me on that app. I got 3 of them, but that's the one I go to all the time that I'm on. That's the one I go to all the time. I've had people come to me, they done go on the reader after reader after reader on the app, and they're all telling them the same exact thing. And they would say, that's what the other readers told me. What are you looking for? Really? All the reader's going to do is read your situation based off of the information that you've given to assist you on your journey to help answer your question. But the app that I'm on, now, like I said, I don't know what other readers do on there. They might tell them, ma'am, you're being awfully selfish. But then it'd be a motherfucker who get mad on you and pissy at you because you're telling them the truth. And they give you a scalding, scathing review. You understand what I'm saying? And no, bad reviews come with the territory. At the same time, it's like, they've only done it because they don't like that you told them the truth. That you are being selfish. That's selfish. All you're concerned about is you and this person soothing and filling your hole of desire, or of having that person there, just having someone there, whether they half there or not. Man, mine have gone right now. You done told me about 5, 6, 7 things that he's dealing with, but all you care about is yourself. If you're telling me that this man has gone through all of this, you mean tell me you can't see that they need some time alone? Why do they have to be up under you? A relationship is like, I don't think it means, well, it don't for me, okay, that a person has to be up under you all the time, or with you all the time. Because what you're screaming and hollering when you do that is your insecurities. Now, we all want to feel secure, especially in a relationship. Or do you think, I haven't talked to him in a while, blah, blah, this, that, and the other. Is it another woman? Okay. No, it's not. I'm not picking up on anybody else there. I'm just picking up that this person is having some issues that they're dealing with right now. And here go a list of 20 things. Yeah, you're right. His mama died, his dog died, he got fired from his job, he broke out in boils, his sister got cancer, and blah, 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 blah. Come on now. Just because a person needs space That does not mean that they're completely done. Now, if you're constantly hounding the person and you know they've gone through all types of, they got all types of shit crumbling down on them like a fucking avalanche, then then they might, they just might run from your ass. Bitch, leave me the fuck alone, bitch. You're not helping. You're not helping. I just think that's so selfish. Okay. Or what was one I got? I got one on my mind. It was something else I was thinking of before this one. Oh, okay, here it is. Same type of thing. No, the man is dealing with something right now, and he doesn't feel that he's what. Now, it just seems as though like men need to have this sense of like, that they being a man. You know what I'm saying? Manhood. You understand what I'm saying? Which usually got something to do with money. Being able to provide and all of that kind of stuff, that they making a decent amount of money, you know what I'm saying, or that with whatever they're making, they do, just being a man, that's how they. It just seems as though being able money and being able to make money and have money, it falls under that category for them, okay, in that category of manhood for them, okay. Now I know some of y'all out there, not some of them, honey, they just straight bums, okay, but. So I'm like, but the man needs, I don't know what the hell he's dealing with. He's dealing with something right now. And he needs, he's not feeling like a man right now. And he's trying to work some shit out within himself. That's what I picked up on. Okay, that's what I got. Well, I don't know. Well, the only thing that I can think of that he could be dealing with is let me say a couple things about this, is him being something about his sexuality. What? Okay. Now, number one, for you to say that to me means that this is something that you've been questioning. And if you've been questioning that, then you need to go do some inner reflection and come to terms with that. Because what I picked up on was that whatever he was dealing with, he had not shared with her. That's all I can think. That's what they said. That's all I can think of. But I kind of wanted to say, like, well, why are you trying to think about it one way or the other? I say he hasn't shared it with you. I've been seeing this man for 2 years, and you think in 2 years, you know all the ins and outs of this man, and he's done told you everything about him, and that he done told you all his problems and all his concerns in 2 fucking years. People would be together, married, whatnot, 30, 40 years. Okay? And not know each other, or not know things about one another, or they say something to each other. I didn't know you felt that way, or I didn't know you liked that, and they say, oh, I've always liked this all my life. That's just the nature of relationships. People don't have to tell you, and they don't, and you don't either, all the ins and outs of who you are and what you think and all of that kind of thing. And a lot of times people don't, because they don't want to be rejected, they don't want to be judged, they don't want to be laughed at, even with the person that they're in a relationship with, even the person that they're married to, even the person that they share children with and share a home with, and all of that kind of thing. It just like, I just wanted to say, ma'am, why would you say that? You sounds like you have a concern about this man's sexuality. You're questioning his sexuality. So I said, well, let me keep on going. I said, well, I'm not picking up that that's what he's dealing with, a concern of his. There's something else going on in his life. It got something to do with money. It looks like the man think he don't feel like he making enough money. And for some people, especially men, that'll send them in a fucking downward ass fucking spiral. Okay, yeah, because he is taking. Apparently, the man was taking care of his grandchild. Okay, because his son, who was the father of the child, the grandchild died. Something like that. But then he got a lot on his plate. He don't think like he's no. That was another situation. I'm sorry, that was another situation. Okay, but it kind of falls under the same category. Okay, the same thing. Like when he go this, that, and the other. Well, right now, well, yeah, you right, because he is taking care of his grandchild. And well, I mean, well, can you give him the space that he needs to do what he has to do? I don't know. It's just like it's just selfish to me. Now I'm talking about when you know that the person that you are dealing with, that you're in a relationship with, got 1,000 issues. Or again, their world done have come crumbling to a fucking, feel like a fucking halt, and an avalanche is coming and everything falling on them, and all you want to know is when he gonna call you. Have you called him? Have you reached out to him? Have you called just to simply say, how was your day today? Fuck a goddamn text. I text him, he didn't text me back. Fuck a text. Impersonal shit. And you're in a relationship. You can share a bed together. Bump bodies all up on each other. But you can't call. Fuck a text. Or if you have the type of relationship where it is okay to do this, you haven't gone by there, maybe took the man a motherfucking meal when you know his world is falling apart. Hell, goddamn, I don't know, a card, I hope things get better card. I'm with you all the way. You waiting for him to. I mean, it could go the other way around too. Don't get me wrong. I'm just talking about from you waiting for him to get in touch with you. And he probably somewhere crying his fucking eyes out, trying to figure out what I was gonna do. You can't take him some flowers. Just show up there with a smile. I was just thinking about you. I know you're going through some things. I know we haven't talked in a while, but I know you're going through some things, but I just wanted to let you know, hey, I got your back. So he feels secure in the relationship as well. I don't understand. I don't understand the selfishness. I don't understand it's all about me when you talk about a relationship. The only thing I think of he's thinking about is you don't know what the fuck he's thinking about. The only problem I know he could possibly be having is you don't know what problem he's having. What makes you think? I don't understand why do you think that this other human being has told you everything about his life and everything that's going on with him, especially if it's only been 2 years. I don't understand why. Why do you think that? And hell, just sometimes, now I've done readings where, and I tell the person the querent, the person I'm doing the reading for, like sometimes I get like I cannot pick it up, or I have heard things like it's not for you to know. Okay, You know, babe, whatever that question is, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get the answer, and I have heard it's not for you to know. As I will ask, it's not for me as the reader to know, or it's not for the person who's asking the question to know. And sometimes I will get it's not for the person who's asked the question, it's not for them to know. You ain't gonna know everything. But hell, goddamn, sometimes, and this could be on the psychiatric, I don't know who's on the other end. It could be somebody I know with a fake profile. It could be somebody I don't know. And I have been told it's not for you to know, meaning me. All right, and I tell them, I'm I'm being told it's not for me as the reader to know. I can't answer that question for you. I don't know why. You know what I'm saying? And I'm okay with that because I don't need to know, all your fucking business. No motherfucking way. You understand what I'm saying? And I'll be very honest with people. I tell them that. It's not for me to know. So I've been told that's not for me to know. And if it's not for them to know, I tell them it's not for you to know. Okay. I have been told in getting readings, it is not for you to know. Okay. Damn it. You know what I'm saying? Damn. Damn. You know what I mean? But I just want to say that, don't be selfish in relationships. I mean, my God. I mean, I'm just saying, especially when you know that the person is going through some things. Don't be so afraid, that the person is never going to contact you again. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about when you know that they're going through some things. Sometimes people need to go through things by themselves. It doesn't mean that there is another person there, that they, I know that's a lot of times that's the first thing people think of. I think especially women when it comes to men, that they are, it's another woman. I understand that. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times it's not. You know, you know, the men have issues and problems and things and stuff too that they got to deal with. And sometimes, depending on what it is, they may want to deal with it alone. Sometimes they don't want to share. So I feel like especially if it has something to do with money. If they feel as though, especially if they become insecure in their manhood and feeling like, like they less of a man. Well, I mean, what man want their woman to know that? He ain't gonna tell you that shit. I'm not saying every single man, but I feel like especially when it comes to something like that, like may keep that to himself. You know what I'm saying? But I just think that that's selfish. And I feel like if you're in a relationship with someone, and that they're going through some things, you can reach out to that person. And if they don't respond, I'm talking about going through something. Like I said, the one lady, she wasn't the only one. I had about 2 of them do that to me. They told me about 5, 6 different things that they knew the man was going through. It had just happened in their life. You know what I'm saying? Well, hell, goddamn, then you're going through something. Give him some time and some space. If you reach out to him and he does not respond or whatever, I can understand the cause for concern. Don't get me wrong. But at the same time, don't make it just about you and what you want and your fears. What's wrong with if you done text or called or whatever and they haven't responded? What's wrong with going by the person's place? You go by there to have sex. Shit. You understand what I'm saying? What's wrong with going by there to check on them or whatever? If that person allows it. Some people, they don't give a damn who, if they're in a relationship or not. You can't just show up at their house. Okay? But if you've gotten to that point in your relationship, what's wrong with that? Doing that? Now, I'm going to say this too. Another thing that if you are like, okay, like this was, now like I said, some people on the app, because I've read some of the descriptions, they like, don't ask me no motherfucking questions about you seeing someone that's married and your relationship with a married person. I will not answer any of those questions, okay? I have not gotten to that point yet. But the last time I did a reading on it for someone, I said, I feel like I'm getting to that point because, I just think that I'm beginning to feel like, okay, I'll be honest. In the past, I felt like I don't know the status or the state of this person's marriage. I'm not looking into it and all of that type of thing. People get married for all kind of reasons. Okay, that ain't all about love and it's holy matrimonial type of thing and all of that kind of thing. Okay. I'm not an advocate at all of people cheating on their spouses. Okay, nor am I an advocate in any way, shape, or form of people interrupting people's marriages in their homes. Okay. But see, when I first got on there was a lot of things that I didn't think about, you know, that I felt like, I'm not going to read on that for you, until I started doing it. It's just like, shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm not reading on that for you. You know what I mean? But anyway, so I had one situation with someone who was in this, dealing with this man who was married, and he cheating on his wife with everybody all over town. And I was letting the lady know this is not a good situation for you to be in, blah blah. Okay, based off of a question, and her answer was no, stay away from this person and this situation. Okay. She comes periodically. And what he does is what people do who are allowed to have their cake and eat it too, is knock on the door and she, play games with herself and kind of let him in. You understand what I'm saying? That type of thing. And then he gone and blah, 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 this, that, and the other. Okay. The reading. Stay away. Stay away. Stay away. After all of that, you're right. You're absolutely right. I didn't talk to him. I didn't give in to him. This, that, and the other. I stayed away. Okay. But the last question. But you didn't answer, when will he call me? Why are we playing games with ourselves? I ain't gonna say, why are you playing a game with yourself? Why are you concerned? He's dangerous. He's married. He's screwing the whole town and outside of town and every town he can get to. He keeps playing with you. You allow it. This time, you're right. I stayed away. But will he call me? Why are, why are you concerned about whether this man will call you? You know what I'm saying? Why are you concerned? And at that point, I was like, you know what? I haven't, like I said, I don't really go on the app that much. But I said, I'm going to have to put in my description, I will not deal with any of those types of things. But even if the man's not married, I have heard women do that. The man is not any good for you. He's not. This bad thing has happened. That bad thing has happened. So on and so forth. But will he call me? Why are you wondering if this person will call you? It's just like sometimes, like with it, it's like doing these readings, like on this app, or just period. It's like sometimes, what am I trying to say? I mean, there have been times since I've been doing readings and doing them publicly where I just kind of felt like, well, the person didn't really ask me that, where I want to say to them, honey, You don't need to be concerned about whether this person is going to call you or not. You need to be concerned about why you wondering if this person is, who has been posed a danger to you and so on and so forth. You need to be concerned about why you're wondering and hoping that this person calls you. That needs to be your focus. But you know, there have been many times I would feel like, well, they didn't ask me all that. You know what I'm saying? It's like I don't want to impose my, impose, well, it may be stupid for me to feel like this, but impose common sense on their fucking ass. But it's like, you want to help the blind to see. You understand what I'm saying? Now, I think we've all been in, well, a great majority of people have been in situations where they know whatever the situation may, it could have been a job, it could have been anything, where it may not have been healthy for you, and you needed to back away. You needed to stay away, but at the same time, there's this longing, for this connection with something that is not healthy for you. That's what needs to be called into question. Okay, not whether there will be an opportunity, even if I don't take it, whether it would be an opportunity will pose itself at some point in time for me to be connected to this unhealthy situation, to this toxic situation. That's the thing that needs to be cause for concern. Why do you want it? Why do you want it? Okay, not whether or not, But that's just all I want to talk about tonight. You know what I'm saying? So I had a friend in college. I had debated about telling this story, but I'm going to tell it, right? I knew this guy in college, right? I met him my freshman year at Howard, which was my second year of college, but my first year there. So my freshman year at Howard. I met him during, when they have incoming freshmen, a lot of these colleges, they get there the week before everybody else do for freshmen a week, picnic and, I don't want to call it a picnic, okay, but, outing, a cookout, I would call it that, cookout. We went to the amusement park. When I was there, we had a cookout, we went to the amusement park. I can't remember what the whole week was about, getting all your shit in order, your major and all of that kind of stuff, your orientation and so on and so forth, right? So I think did I meet him that week? It might not have been that week, but it was the beginning of the school year. And like I said, I lived off campus, okay? This was when was I there? 90, is that when I did? No, yeah, 90, 91, okay? So we had these charter buses that would pick us up from the dorm and take us to campus. And it was a big charter bus. So that's why I'm thinking it was that freshman week, because it was a big it wasn't the regular, it was like school bus type things we were on. It was like a big charter bus. So I remember getting off the bus with a couple of girls that I was, hanging out with. And there was this girl that we knew who was in our dorm. This was an all girl dorm. And she introduced us to her friend. Now, I'm not going to say his name, okay? His first name, I believe, his last name was French. Let me see. His first name, I had never met a black person with this name before. I was like, what kind of black dude got a name like that? His first name is, it says Slavic origin. Wow. It means ruler of the world. Okay. Wow. Okay, but anyway, his first name was Slavic. I didn't think that was Slavic, but it was Slavic. And his last name was French, right? So I was like, what kind of name is that? You know what I'm saying? I ain't never met a black person with that name, right? Okay, a name like that, right? So anyway, it made me think about what at Dreamgirls when Beyonce said, Dawn. She said, I ain't never met a black girl, well, I don't know what she said, named Dawn or some shit like that. But anyway. And I remember looking at him like, thinking to myself, he looks like such a nice guy. You know what I'm saying? What is he doing with her? Now, think about it, she was a nice girl, but it was just like, I don't know, I had these gifts back then, like insight, okay? It's like, what is he doing with her? He seemed like such a nice guy. So anyway, time goes on, these two become an item, okay? Dating, loving on each other and everything for the first 3 years. Okay, you saw him, you saw her, you said his name, you said basically was saying her name, that type of thing. They was together. And he was a skinny little, scrawny little dude, right? And our senior year, I remember it was our senior year. He began to have some him and his girl wasn't things was going south, basically. She just started screwing everything and everybody. Okay, she got real loose, all right, which was like, what the fuck happened? You know what I'm saying? Like, fighting, just she just became a totally, I want to say she became a totally different person, but that's not the reality. Shit, the reality is that's who she was. You understand what I'm saying? That's who she was. And I think that's what I picked up on when I was looking at him, looking at, like, he's such a nice guy, like, what is he doing with her? And she hadn't done anything at that point for me to even feel that way. But I just could see, I could just see it. And then here, our senior year, or whenever it started, it blew up. I remember one time I was on campus, my senior year, second semester. I had this kind of, maybe it would be detachment issues. I don't know if that's what you would call it, but sometimes I would have a very difficult time when something would come to an end, transitioning to the next phase of life. Okay. So I would have it was very challenging for me, my senior year, second semester. This is shit I kept to myself. So second semester, not only second semester, hell, it was in the spring. We were about to graduate. The shit was about to be over. Okay, not get ready to come back to school next year, and no, it's done. It's over. Now you have to move to the next phase of life. Right? You ain't got to go home, but you motherfuckers got to get the hell up out of here. Here's your degree, right? So I was in this class that they had for seniors. I was in the School of Communications because my major was film and theater, which was, film was in the School of School of Communication. Theater was, that was my minor in fine arts. So I was in the building, and we had to take this class. Seniors had to take this class to, I don't remember what the class was, but it was just to prepare us for, going out there in the work world and everything, and networking and so on and so forth. Oh my God, I was like so fucking shy. You know what I'm saying? It didn't appear that way. I wasn't shy about everything, but I was shy about some things. And one thing that I was deathly afraid of back then, okay? I was deathly afraid of having to talk to people. You know what I'm saying? Like networking. I was just like, oh my God. I was just determined that I was not going to do it. Like, shit, I ain't got to do that. That was my attitude. But it's like, yeah, you need to network, okay? Well, I was looking at it as being such a formal thing, so it's very, it can be very formal, but also can be very casual. I didn't understand it like that back then. And also, I was just really kind of, I used to call myself, what was it? Extroverted introvert or something like that, or introverted extrovert. I can't remember. Like, I was extrovert, I was outgoing, but at the same time I knew I was very inward. You know what I'm saying? Very, very, very frightened of certain things, to just really go out there and just talk to people. Now, people can't stand going places with me. They like, everywhere we go, you talk to people. Yeah, damn right, I do. I like talking to people because that was a challenge that I had. So since motherfuckers told me I had to do it, I made myself do it. You understand what I'm saying? To the point now where it's just very easy for me. But anyway, so I was sitting in class one day, and the guy is up there, the professor's up there telling us about how we got to get out there and we got to talk to people, we got the resume, all of that shit. I never liked none of that shit, that formal shit. You know what I'm saying? Resumes and all of that type of thing. Hell, at that point, I was waiting tables. I was just as happy. You understand what I'm saying? I was just as happy and content doing that. I was a server. I loved it. I liked what I was doing. I always had some money in my pocket. I was cool. You know what I'm saying? I never was, like I said before in the video I did, I never was one to like plan, have these great elaborate plans. Hell, I remember when I was in my 30s after I had my daughter. I looked up, and Howard Alumni, they had this social networking app thing, social media app type thing, and all the things that I saw so many people that they had done right after graduation, going to law school, going to business school, going to this, going to that, schools. But I didn't do any of that. I didn't plan like that. You know what I'm saying? And part of me was like, I didn't even think to, and I didn't. It didn't even cross my mind to do that. It's just like, okay, I'm done with school now. I have my degree. Or I'm about to be done with school and get my degree. It didn't dawn on me what's next. Hell, all I would think of was work, shit. You know what I'm saying? And at the time, my senior year, I was doing like some student films and stuff like that. So that was really my focus, And what I wanted to do at the time was, I was like, okay, well, since I got to figure out what the hell to do, y'all telling me I got to figure out, I got to do something, got to go out there and get a job, you know what I'm saying? Although in my mind, I'm like, I have a job, no, I'm not making millions or anything, but I'm cool right now because I just felt like, I was just that type of person. My dad always said I was, you like artsy fartsy, you're artsy person. You just kind of just, I would have just flow with it, you know what I'm saying? But that appeared, it seemed as though the way people were talking, that wasn't good enough. That's not how you do it. You understand what I'm saying? I was like, okay, then motherfuckers, how do I supposed to do it? Okay, so one thing that I wanted to do, I wanted to, this was when Spike Lee, Spike Lee days or whatever, which he's still out there making movies. I was like trying to get in at 40 Acres and a Mule to be a production assistant, get in as a production assistant. And back then, when I had first moved to New York, I had walked to like Bad Boy, Essence, a couple of the other entertainment places, put in my resume or whatever, but I didn't get no job, whatever, in that industry there. So nevertheless, so I was in class. I think, anxiety just rose up, you know what I'm saying, from the pit of my belly all the way up. And I walked out of class. I think I ran out of class. I think I practically ran up out of that motherfucker, okay? But I walked up out of class. I went to the bathroom. I went outside. I was sitting on the wall, and he passed by. This guy I'm telling you about, he passed by, and I looked at him, and I waved, and I spoke. He came over to me. He was so sweet. He came over to me. He was like, what's wrong? And boy, the tears just started flooding. I just started crying. And he was like, oh, and he hugged me. He was like, tell me what's wrong, And I just went on and on and on and on about a lot of shit. Everything just came out at that point because it was just like, this is something y'all telling me I gotta do, and I don't want to do this, I can't do this, I can't get out there like that, and I can't talk to people, I'm afraid, and is this the only way I can live life, and you understand what I'm saying? Because I promise you, I didn't have it in my mind at all, I wasn't like, now, I don't want this to sound negative, but I wasn't like an ambitious person. I was like a go with the flow type of a spirited person. You know what I mean? And that's just how it was. And I also feel as though I didn't have the guidance. I remember when I graduated, the day of graduation, we went out to dinner, and my dad, I was sitting, we were having dinner, and my dad said to me, he said, what are you going to do, now? And I said, well, work, And he said, well, what else? What you going? I said, well, work. I got a job. I'm working, And he said, well, you ain't gonna go to law school or business school or this school or that school or whatever. He said, and I said, no, I'm working, you know. Well, Nikki, you this, that, and other. Here come the barrage of negative shit over the top of my head. And I was sitting there looking at him thinking to myself, what the fuck is the problem? You know what I'm saying? You know, I'm working a job. What is the problem? But it's like years later, it dawned on me. It's like if I had a thought of it, it was like, why are you asking me this now? You know, why are you asking me after I've graduated from college and we're sitting here eating dinner? Why didn't you ask me this before this point and say to me, you know, let me help you. Let me give you some things to think about to get so you can get ready to go out there, you know, in the work world. You understand what I'm saying? And preparation. The lady who raised me, she damn sure didn't. You know what I'm saying? So it was just like looking back on it, you know, when I got older and I looked back on it, it was like, you know, the nerve of you to criticize me at 21 years old. You understand what I'm saying? At 21. About what I ain't doing. Or when you didn't even assist me in that. You didn't know me in any way, shape, or form to say, you know, my daughter is, you know, is this or my daughter is that. Let me help her, you know, guide her to find her way, you know what I'm saying, so that she can be successful, you know, financially. So I think maybe law school would be good for her, art school, since she's an artsy person, or whatever, you know, graduate school, whatever. You know, I pretty much did figure the shit out on my own, you know. And I dare motherfucker to say that I'm lying. Okay? So anyway, so when I saw him, this guy that I'm telling you about, man, when I saw him on, he went through a lot with this young woman that he had been dating, you know, and what she had become, you know, basically like, it's like it tore him, you know, apart. You know what I'm saying? Because I think she was doing this behind his back initially, and you know how that shit goes when motherfuckers make a fool of you or ass of you in relationships, you know, and they're doing things behind your back and everybody knows but you. You know. This wasn't a thing like where only a few people know. It was just like the shit was all over fucking campus, basically. You know, everybody knows but you know, this guy, he went through a lot. You know, I think he had to be, I think he sat out of school for maybe like a semester. You know, he tried to unalive himself. He was taking, I think one of the professors or the head of the department, whatever school he was in, got a hold of him. And, you know, I think he took him in for a while. You know, he really went through a lot behind that. And years later, here we are on this Facebook, I mean, this Howard alumni social media thing. Boy, oh boy, when I tell you, when I saw him, my mouth dropped. You should have seen. I mean, he had really, really became a thing of beauty. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, like, wow. Like, you know how some people, like, they, at the older they get, I mean, you see it sometimes. Sometimes people, the older they get, the more beautiful they become, and that's exactly what had happened to him. But at the same time, you know, I kind of watched him. It just seemed like relationship after relationship after relationship. At least what he shared with me, the little bit he shared with me, because we talk a little bit here and there after those years, and watching him on social media, it was just like the same thing over and over and over again. You know, the same cycle, the same hurt, the same pain, getting involved in situations with people that sometimes he would here he would bring up a new person, and I would want to get in his DM and say, "What the fuck are you doing? You about to hit the same fucking wall that you've been hitting." And inevitably, just give it. I was like, I'd sit there and watch, be like, just give it a few moments, give it a few months, and inevitably, that's exactly what would happen. I have not talked to this man in years. I don't know what's happening in his life. He became very um, successful with um, I don't want to give away who this person is because I could say what his work is and people might know who I'm talking about, and I don't want to do that. Okay, because he became very well known with some uh, work that he created actually. I don't know the status of it or anything right now, but I've talked to people here. He doesn't live here. He lives in New York. I've talked to people here who are very familiar. They know exactly who he is. They know his work and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? But it was just, I watched him. I was like, he keep going through the same shit over and over and over and over again. These cycles and these loops and whatnot that we get ourselves involved in. And it's like it's not the other. You get to a point where you realize it's not that person. It's not the other person because the story you're telling about this one is you don't hear it. I hear it. Probably other people here, but they're not going to tell you. Especially like I said, like the work that he did, the stuff that he created, it became a very well known thing, very large. People ain't gonna tell you. They're gonna kiss your ass. They're gonna watch. But because of your status and because of who you are and because you made a name for yourself, a big name for yourself, they're not going to tell you, motherfucker, you about to crash and burn again. They're not. You know what I'm saying? They're going to sit there and they're going to watch you crash and burn again. They're not going to tell you, brother, this is what we got to work on. It's not the women. It's you. You keep going after the same thing over and over and over and over again. You know what I'm saying? And then sometimes, too, people are not ready to hear that. They don't want to hear it. They're not ready to hear that. I haven't talked to him in years. We fell out. He got on my motherfucker. He's an arrogant motherfucker, so he got on my fucking nerves. And we had a big falling out. That probably was about 10 years ago. Yeah, maybe not quite 10. Yeah, about 10 years ago. You know what I'm saying? So I have not talked to him yet. But he does hold a very special place in my heart because I will never forget that day, when he held me in his arms and he just let me just cry it all out on his shoulder. You know what I'm saying? But I'm telling that story only because I have been thinking about him lately. He had been crossing my mind lately. And I was thinking about relationships. And that's like, thinking about relationships only, not the full spectrum of it, just in regards to some of the things that I had noticed, as a reader on the app. You know what I'm saying? Like why are you thinking about you only? When this person is going through some heavy shit. Why is it only about you? Why are you not concerned about that person's well-being? And I'm not saying that you're not, but you're not asking me about the person's well-being. Will they be all right? That's not what you're asking. Is the person that I love going to make it through this? That's not what you're asking. Will everything fall into place for them? Are they going to be? Is their financial status going to get better? And are they going to get healthier? Are they going to get through all the pain and grief that they've had to deal with over these last such and such amount of months or years or whatever the case? You're not asking that. You're asking when they're going to call me. That's what you ask. When they going to get back with me? Shit. That's what you're asking. I mean, like, I don't want to be one of the people that say you don't deserve to be back with that person. But the spirit because I don't know what the person is like, but the spirit of what you're saying, the spirit of your attitude right now is, it's almost like it's not deserving of a real heart to heart, heartfelt relationship. Because you just told me this man about to damn near done gone through everything, but and on the edge of losing his fucking mind, basically. But all you want to know is when the motherfucker is gonna call your motherfucking ass. Are you serious? But this is a relationship. You know what I'm saying? And you can't imagine what he could be possibly going through. What? Or you can't imagine what could possibly be on his mind. Why are you trying to imagine it any fucking way? And if you feel that, why have you asked him? Have you reached out to him and asked him? You know, have you opened your arms to him? It's kind of like, I want to say, the way that dude opened his arms to me that day. And we wasn't in no relationship. We just, I can't even say we were really friends. We was, strong acquaintances. You know what I'm saying? Have you opened your arms to him and let him cry on your shoulders, so that he knows that with his woman, he can cry in front of your motherfucking ass and on your shoulder, and you're not going to take it up out that door and share it with your girlfriends or the motherfucking reader on the app? Because men cry too. Men have issues too. Men hurt too. Men need to know that the woman that says they love him is there for him too. Now, this is not no thing about bashing women and men only right. This is not that. If that's what you heard, then I'm sorry. Then that's not what this is. But I'm using those particular situations that I got on the app, because by the third time I had just was like fed up, like, what the fuck is this shit in this world right now? You don't care about what he going through, and you done told me here like 5-6 different things. Or he's got a grandson that he has to parent now because his son is dead. And who knows where the child's mother is. I don't know how old this man is. I don't look at birthdays and stuff. People send their birthday. I never look at it. Because, I don't need it. But he's got a grandson that he is another situation, fully in charge of. But your concern is you only. That's a fucking problem. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, it is late, past my bedtime, or getting close to it, and I'm going to bed. Y'all have a favor. Peace.